Welcome to Life L'Chaim. On today's show, we'll talk about the PJ Library, an organization that sends out free Jewish kids' books and music on a monthly basis. And first, we'll talk about Jewish news with the publisher of Jewish Home Magazine, right after these messages.
With me today in the studio is Rosalie Eisen, the National Director of Community Relations and Development for the PJ Library. Rosalie, we want to thank you. Thank you for coming into the studio today and welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
For our listeners in the audience, I'm sure everybody just said, what the heck is a PJ Library? Tell us, what is a PJ Library?
PJ Library is an award-winning international program of the Harold Grinspoon Foundation, which strengthens Jewish identity in the home where families are raising young Jewish children, and also strengthens those families' engagement into the community.
And how do you do that?
Well, very simply. First of all, PJ stands for pajamas, because that is the time when children are cuddling with their parents at bedtime and reading books. PJ Library makes it very easy by sending books directly into the homes of families with young children. And a great part about this project is the books and music come every month, addressed in envelopes to the children, and the program is always free to the families.
And how did this project come to be? When did it kick off? And how did the light bulb go off and say, let's send Jewish children free books?
So you might be surprised by this, but Harold Grinspoon, the visionary philanthropist, heard Dolly Parton speaking about her Imagination Library. Her project sends free books each month into the homes of low-income children. Harold long has been concerned about Jewish continuity, Jewish education, and he began to think, if we could get Jewish children's books into the homes of families, might that increase Jewish literacy and connection? We did research, launched this project as a pilot in Western Massachusetts, which is home of the foundation, with just 200 children, not quite 6 years ago. We went national 5 years ago. I'm very proud to tell you right now that we are in more than 150 communities, and more than 80,000 children are running to their mailbox this month to receive the PJ Library books.
Well, that is fantastic. While you say that, I just want to let the audience know that PJ is actually even more active in Israel than it is in the United States.
Well,
we have one of those titles here from Israel.
That's right. And that happens to be a title that also is a U.S. book as well. So our sister project in Israel, Sifriyat Pajama, is slightly different in that the books we are in partnership with the Ministry of Education. Those books are sent into the classroom of the preschools. More than 95% of 3, 4, and 5-year-olds in Israel attend a public preschool, and so we're reaching a huge population there. It's actually a literacy project aimed at more immigrant low-income families, and you're correct, that project is already reaching in 3 years 120,000 children in Israel.
So really now the project altogether has 200,000 children enrolled.
More than, that's correct. We just launched in Australia. We are strongly researching now the former Soviet Union and Latin America. Really, I think that Harold Grinspoon wants these books to be in the hands of every Jewish child in the world.
So what do you think your growth rate is going to be for this coming year?
In the U.S., our target is to get to 180,000 children, probably in the next 2 years or so. And so we've just, we expect probably the growth rate this year, we'll probably reach another 50,000 at least children this year.
I see,
Could
very
be
good.
more.
Let me just share with the audience some of the materials that we were talking about off camera. You said that The program also incorporates music. A CD here by Craig and Company, Craig Tauber, which is anybody who listens to contemporary Jewish music knows his stuff. Tell me a little bit about this segment. How do the kids get it? How does music integrate into the whole PJ project?
So the way it works is there are 11 books and 1 CD that are sent every year to kids. So a book or a CD arrives every month. So there are 11 books and 1 CD. December is always Music Month. The books are all age appropriate, really designed to be very inclusive, welcoming books that focus on Jewish values, Jewish heritage, Jewish holidays. We want children and families, as they're reading these books together, to feel really a joyful connection. PJ Library actually goes from 6 months through age 8. So there are 11 books.
So you have a whole series of books.
We have a whole series. So there's 11 books and 1 CD for 1-year-olds, 2-year-olds, etc. And we're constantly looking for new and better books, you might imagine.
So let me ask, are the books written for PJ Library, or you incorporate books that other people are producing?
All of the above. We send a lot of books that are already published. However, we work with about 50 plus publishers who publish directly for us. A very key part of this project is on the flaps of each of the books, is really what makes this project family engagement. It talks on the flaps is written a guide which talks about the key Jewish concepts and values in the book. Books focus on such things as taking care of the earth, taking care of the elderly. Again, joyful connections to holidays. It also has on those flaps key questions that parents can use to engage their family in conversation in the books and additional resources. So that's a very important part of the project. In fact, we did a national independent survey last year. We surveyed more than 36,000 families who had been receiving PJ Library. We got a 47% return rate, more than 16,000. Amazing. Families responded. Even more amazing is that 95% of those families said that they gave the PJ Library top rating. 88% of them said that the project makes them feel connected to Jewish community. 80% said that it inspires conversation within the home.
That's wonderful. We're going to take a short break and be back and learn more about the PJ Library project. Welcome back to L'Chaim and our interview with Rosalie Eisen from the PJ Library. Before the break, we were talking about the Jewish values that the system of books teaches, and you mentioned the overlay. Just for our readers, we want to encourage them, of course, to enroll in the program, and we're going to give them some information. But as we mentioned, what makes this set of books apart is that inside each book is this little overlay that really helps parents teach their children the Jewish values and encounter those values together with their children. Let me ask you a little bit about the demographics. It is a national program, international, as you mentioned. Are you able to tell us, is this bringing people closer to the Jewish community? Is it connecting people that are out there on the periphery, that this is giving them a connection?
We absolutely know that it is. In communities, anywhere from 20% to 50% of the families that are currently enrolled in the PJ Library were unknown to the Jewish community before PJ Library. So you might ask, why is that, and how you reach those families? One is that pediatricians, educators, everyone lets young parents know how important for cognitive and emotional development it is to read to children. Also, this is a very much a social networking generation, and so we have communities, local communities have Facebook pages, they Twitter, they do publish about PJ Library on many secular sites like secular mom blogs, in the in newspapers. There have been articles in the New York Times, in the Miami Herald, and the Chicago Tribune, etc. But really what we found in our national survey is that more than 40% of those that were currently enrolled in PJ Library heard about it through family and friends. Who wouldn't want to get these gorgeous Jewish children's books? And because they're free, we really have very consciously kept this project really a no barrier kind of program.
So how are you getting word out? You mentioned that you have 150 affiliate communities. How are you getting the word out locally so parents know how to connect with you?
So we partner in communities with Jewish federations, Jewish community centers, and small communities. It's typically through the synagogue. They send out what we call we pay for a community-wide mailing that gets the initial information out about the project, lets people know how to register. It also says, if you know someone else that you think might be interested in this program, please pass it along. And of course, people pass it along. We have press kits. We have the national office offers tremendous support for our local affiliates in marketing and PR and technology support to get the most from the internet, etc.
And if someone is out there in a community that does not have local networking, is there a website or a local website where they can connect with you?
www.pjlibrary.org. There's not only a lot of resources, but it makes it easy for families to enroll. You know, if you don't live in a current PJ Library community, then of course you can enroll on your own. Part of the strength of this project is that it not only builds Jewish identity within the family, encourages them through the books in the home are really the first step, and then communities offer a lot of programming to invite the families into participation, and it also really strengthens the community as families that were unknown to the community start attending local programs.
Very good. Yes, I have the privilege in the near future. I'm going to be actually reading the Shabbat box. I think one of my favorite books in the whole PJ Library series at a local library to Jewish children. It's an open event, and I'm going to be integrating the book and creating my own Shabbat box, so the kids will have the book and they'll have a hands-on. And so it's really not just in the homes, but it's really a great resource for Jewish educators.
No, it's a strong goal of ours, and working with the local communities to share the amazing creativity that has sprung from PJ Library books and the type of programming that we also support, partially fund a PJ Library staff person in each of those communities, and so engagement into the community is very important. And we know that it takes time for people to make Jewish choices, and so really building on the PJ Library brand, the books come free, parents see that they are of high quality, appropriate for their children, and really inviting to further connection.
Now, I was looking at one of your titles. It's called Nosh, Schlepp, Schluff, Baby Yiddish. It's very cute. It's on, those of us who remember when our kids were little and they liked to chew on books, they thought they were edible. It's that nice heavy cardboard that's almost chew-proof.
That's obviously one of the books for the young children.
Yes, and teaches them a few Yiddish words along the way. So, I want to emphasize to our audience that really it is taking children from the time when they're, eating books instead of reading them, all the way up through grade school and teaching wonderful Jewish values.
And if I can add to that, really, that's really part of the beauty of the project for intermarried families, even for those that grew up Jewish, not knowing so much. They really get to learn right along with the children, and no one has to feel like they don't know what a Tu B'Shvat is, or what a holiday is, or what they are. It makes it very, very easy, just at a time when families with young children are deciding what kind of heritage, what kind of values I want to pass on to my children. The books just arrive free every month in their mailbox.
Before we go out from this segment, just give our audience that website once again, and we encourage them to use it.
www.pjlibrary.org.
Great. Rosalie, I want to thank you for coming into the studio, educating our audience about this great project, and just great success. You should be in every Jewish home.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's it for this edition. Don't forget to visit our Facebook page for all the latest news about our program. I'm Lee Lazarson. Thanks for joining us on To Life L'Chaim.